On today's show, who is Cooper Flagg? Well, who he is a great fit for this current Dallas Mavericks team and an incredible NBA prospect. We'll explain on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm gonna get a city like back.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave me alone.
Your team every day.
Gotta be born with the dog blood.
And let it ride. Dun, 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 dun. And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years alongside me, the draft profile papa, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I think it's pretty unhealthy, the amount of Cooper Flagg content, anything that I've consumed over the past 24 hours. I feel like I've seen Cooper Flagg's face more than like my kids and my wife. I mean, I was even at a point today at work to where I went and used the bathroom. And while I was using the bathroom, I was watching more highlights and like finished reading the story. I was like, all right, downloading all the Cooper Flagg stuff.
Comment below if you watched Cooper Flagg highlights like all day.
In the
today.
stall.
Yeah. You just are watching everything. You're like, oh yeah, that one dunk against UCLA, insane. Like,
I mean, the Pittsburgh dunk is just insane.
The Pittsburgh way out.
But then he had like the combine numbers today. Never cared that much about like lane agility drills, but I'm like,
crushed it today.
Look how fast his feet are. Like moving side to side. What? He's trying this hard in the combine?
A little bit later today, we'll do a show about the report from Mark Stein and from Tim McMahon. Literally like the two most respected Mavs reporters that, at least most trusted. I wouldn't say most respected because Tim McMahon did get an F McMahon chant at the protest, which is still the funniest thing. Ever.
Yeah, but a lot of those same people are, man, that report's great.
Yeah, they're gonna come back. But we'll do a bonus episode about that report about the Mavs not trading the pick. They're gonna take it. So if you were worried about that, they're not gonna do that. So stay on this feed wherever you're watching, listen to this. But today's episode, we're gonna do the Cooper Flagg draft profile. We'll go through offensive and defensive traits, strengths, weaknesses. We'll go through his NBA comp. I got a few from well-respected people that I think are pretty fun. But let's start here, Isaac Harris. There's been a lot of talk about Cooper Flagg on the Dallas Mavericks and how he actually fits on the Mavericks because the Mavs are a win now team. Nico Harrison wanted to go all in. He brought in Anthony Davis, got Kyrie Irving, got Klay Thompson. You got guys that have won titles that are in their 30s that, you know, the window is short for those guys. You've got a win now team right now. You've got pieces like in Dereck Lively. You've got PJ Washington. You've got Daniel Gafford. You've got Caleb Martin. You've got Naji Marshall. You've got so many pieces that are a win now players that like, all right, you're kind of ready made to win right now if you get another guard. Maybe not win the whole title, but you could if you're healthy and it went the right way. And I think this team could. And so looking at Cooper Flagg, say, well, how does he fit into all this? And honestly, looking at it, bringing him in and having him be whatever he can be this year. He can start at small forward, start at the 3. He can knock down shots. He can be a secondary playmaker that the Mavs desperately need right now. He can be guard, the best perimeter guy. Maybe not guards, but definitely wings. He can guard. He can be a help shot blocker if Anthony Davis is guarding somebody one-on-one. Like imagine on one side of the floor, Anthony Davis is a help shot blocker. Then the other side of the floor, Cooper Flagg is your help shot blocker. Like it doesn't matter who's on the weak side. Somebody's coming over to block shots. Right. And so looking at this team and looking at what Cooper Flagg is good at, this is a great fit. The Mavericks are a great fit. I think it was, I saw some people even say today, this is an amazing fit for the Mavericks.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's a great fit for him. And I'm not just saying that because, I mean, sure, because
I was saying it. I was making it up. I wasn't being sure.
I have seen a few people out there like, dude, this is such a bad fit. You know, he should be going to a team that it's just all about him. There's no pressure to win. It's a bad team and all this stuff. And I just don't think that. I think he's going to come into a system and plays just such an important role. I think he's going to be able to be surrounded by championship, experience.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to learn from somebody that's one of the best at his position. That he's literally the best prospect, in my opinion, the best prospect to come out of college basketball since Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And he gets to learn from him. So I just think it's a great fit all around. And he's probably going to get playoff experience in his first season in the league too. And he's that good. Like he's that type of player and that good of a player that it's not going to take a lot of time. Like, not saying he's going to, put up 35 a game. It's not about that for him. He's going to be able to play on day one and play defense and offense and just going to captivate the fan base.
Absolutely. And Jonathan Gavoni of ESPN said, sources told ESPN that Flagg's camp realized how fortunate he is to land at Dallas. Flagg is said to be thrilled by the idea of joining a playoff roster with strong veterans and a team that has a void at the small forward position. We'll talk about him saying that they have a void at the small forward position definitely later down the road. But he's right. He's joining a playoff team. And honestly, there is not going to be pressure on him, right? There's going to be pressure on him to maybe not make mistakes, but there's not going to be pressure on him to have to perform. You got to go out there and you got to give us 20 points every night. That's not going to be on him, especially when the Mavs are all healthy. Like you're not going to be putting that kind of pressure on him because the pressure is going to be on Anthony Davis.
No, yeah, definitely the pressure is on Anthony Davis more than him. He might be asked to do a little bit more quickly because of Kyrie's stuff and recovery, depending on who they go out and try to get in the backcourt, which I'm assuming they're still going to be trying to do this offseason. But you might see a little bit more of that early on. But man, it's and you know what I go back to, and I went back and watched as much tape from this as I could find today, was when he was invited to the Team USA scrimmage.
Yes.
And not scrimmage, training camp. He was the first person in over 10 years, first high school player to get invited to NBA, the Team USA training camp. And he goes there and he's going up against LeBron, Anthony Davis, and these guys. And I watched the interview he did after that. And he's like, man, I felt like I held my own. And I feel like I did all right. Other players commented on him, LeBron, Kevin Durant. And when you watch those highlights and stuff, seeing the dribble moves at 6'9", breaking guys off the dribble, flying in for the dunk, getting rebounds over these guys, he didn't look like he was 17. This is before he even suited up for Duke. So, I mean, he looked like just another guy out there. And he was 17 years old playing against literally the best players that's in the NBA. So I'm pretty confident that he's going to be able to play a big role early on.
In that scrimmage, in some of the clips that I've seen, he had a dribble move against Drew Holiday, and he took a shot and made a shot over Anthony Davis. It's like, those are some of the two hardest things to do in the NBA, is to dribble against Drew Holiday and to shoot a shot over Anthony Davis, especially we're talking like over a year ago. Cooper Flagg, this is who he is. Let's dive into the draft profile, all the strengths and weaknesses and everything. 6'9". He weighed in at 221 pounds. He added 12 pounds over since he was weighed last, I guess since the beginning of college. So that's a big positive. 7-foot wingspan. He lost an inch on the wingspan. It was reported 7'1", and it's actually 7 foot. Damn. Maybe they should think about something else. He's going to be 18 and a half at the time of the draft, like not even close to 19. He's going to be 18 years old on the first night of the season. That's absolutely wild.
He wasn't even alive whenever the NBA rigged the finals for the Heat to beat the Mavs in 2006.
Speaking of rigged, I posted a video of the lottery balls. They actually like them actually picking each one 10, 11, 14, and 7. I feel like we're going to remember those numbers. Those are the lottery balls.
Somebody's getting that tattooed on them.
Cooper Flagg obviously went to Duke, and his agent is CAA, so we don't have to worry about the Bill Duffy issue
Burn bridge.
The one sentence descriptor from Rafael Barlow, and I take a lot from Rafael Barlow, Locked On NBA Big Board, obviously, The Ringer does a good job as well. At 6'9", Flagg brings a combination of skill, versatility, and explosive athleticism that fills arenas. He can handle the ball and operate out of the high post, where he's a gifted playmaker, showcasing a knack for finding open cutters and easy scoring opportunities. He also talks about his defense on the defensive end. That's where Flagg is special. He is the most dominant high school defender I've ever scouted. It epitomizes the term game changer. That's from Rafael. From The Ringer, our friend J. Kyle Mann said, the most well-rounded prospect in recent memory with the fire and focus for more.
but his tenacity and competitiveness is gonna, I mean, just set the AAC aflame. I'll add this about the Duke part. He skips his last year of high school to go into college early. With the whole goal of this is to get into the NBA a year earlier, to start the contract stuff earlier, and all this stuff to maximize the potential of that. He was the second youngest player in college basketball, second, and he won the Wooden Award as the best player in college basketball, and he was a semifinalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award. If that tells you how good Cooper Flagg is as the second youngest player in college basketball, and he is up there. I mean, 35-4 record, just insane. I watched so much.
Yet? Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, and I feel like I've just read. I was excited about getting Cooper Flagg, and now over the past 24 hours, somehow that excitement is even above and beyond.
I can tell from the sound of your voice.
Are you kidding? Or are you being sarcastic?
No, there is when Isaac is super excited though. He doesn't get super demonstrative. He like, I'm so excited about this. He's like buzzing over there.
Oh, I am.
I know. Coming up, what is he good at exactly? Let's talk about why he's so good defensively. Let's talk about why he is going to help the Mavericks on offense, and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Wayfair. Wayfair, they got just what you need. They have all kinds of things that'll help you to refresh your room. It's coming on the summer, and I know for us, it's about to be 100. I think it's going to be 100 today on Wednesday. You're going to want to spend some time inside this summer because it's going to be way too hot. And so you may need to refresh your room. Get something you need. Get something that'll make your room or your a space in your house, your apartment look better. They've got all kinds of great stuff. I recently got a drink cabinet. It's awesome. I put all kinds of stuff in there, and it's a great looking piece. I found it in the exact color that I needed, and delivery is free and hassle free, even for big stuff like what I got. Shop huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening. We have a text line. If you want to support the show, you can get it a couple weeks free, and then you help support us after that. 214-643-8637. We send every single rumor that we'll ever see about the Mavericks. I'll text it to you. Isaac and I will send you our thoughts on it immediately. Like, I'm not running to Twitter first. I'm running to the text line first, and I'm sending you messages off that. A lot of times people get that stuff before they get it on Twitter because we have other sources and different ways to find it. And so, subscribe to that. Again, link in the description and all that, and help support the show. All right. Cooper Flagg. I'm kind of just going to let you cook here. Here's a couple of things that he's good at, strengths of his. Elite rim protector. He's a good playmaker. He's got a decent handle. He is an explosive athlete, knows for the ball. And what Rafael Barlow said, Locked On NBA Big Board, what really sets Flagg apart from his peers is his motor and relentless energy.
That's the part where you do any type of research about Cooper Flagg. You're going to see all types of stuff about both sides of basketball, but it's his fire for the game. It's the passion that you're seeing on both sides of the ball. Whenever he's the best player on the floor, it's just infectious for everybody. His teammates, going back to his early days in Maine, to Monteverde, to Duke. It's just like when you have a leader like that has that type of passion on both ends of the floor, that's what's going to captivate Mavs fans. Is he is a highlight. Not only is that, but he's a highlight machine, and he's going to have some insane blocks, but he's going to dunk on you too. And I think I've watched every dunk attempt today that he had in college, and there were different times there. He had some massive dunk attempts where he got stuffed at the rim by another player. And I was like, dude, this is a dude that he doesn't care. Like, I don't care to be on the other end of the highlight. I want to cram it in your face because that's the type of player I am. And there was this quote from this Athletic article where they're talking about John Shire and why he Duke head coach for Duke. And they were talking to Cooper Flagg about why he committed to Duke. And this is what Cooper Flagg said in his meetings with John Shire before he committed. He said, something that stuck out to me the whole time was his honesty. Coach was always really honest with me with his vision, what he saw. I mean, he even critiqued some of my games that he came to and watched. That's the sort of thing I look for.
Mm.
And that was like what some of his parents were saying. It was like, hey, we got calls from John Calipari, Bill Self, and all the other big names and stuff. But John Shire was like the only coach that was like, well, I'm going to tell you some things you did wrong in school. And that like stood out to him. Like, no, I want that. Like he is like, he's like an animal when it comes to, I want to be the best, and I'm gonna improve in that. So yeah, I mean, you can. Which side of the basketball you really want to start with? Do you want to start with offense, or you want to start with defense?
Well, just that idea of him always wanting to get better, it reminds me of Lively in a way. Like the way Lively came in, and that's what you need to have on a veteran team is to come in, all right, I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to go in and I'm going to amp everybody up. Like Lively's energy is so infectious, and for Flagg to come in with that same kind of energy and bring that too, man, it's between the two of them, like they're just gonna be bouncing off each other. I don't know if you saw Lively post the interview he did with him. That's fun. Awesome. Them going back and forth after a game, after a Duke game. Lively is like interviewing Cooper Flagg, which is awesome. And Lively posted another picture of him in Cooper Flagg a little bit later.
I mean, some of the older the vets on the team are gonna be like, can you calm it down? Like it's just camp. Like you don't have to go 110. This entire time when it's not in the games. But I mean, when he gets the ball in transition, I mean, there's so much stuff out there you can watch. Obviously, the Pittsburgh dunk and transitions, like his moment there at Cameron playing for Duke, and where he just yams on this guy.
That's his last Instagram post, by the way. Is
it really?
That dunk? Yeah.
I thought something that's fascinating with him too is he plays on the wing a lot. Duke used him as this like point forward a lot of times. But 19% of his possessions were in the pick and roll. And, Duke has this massive center that's going to be a top 10 draft pick. That is like your traditional lob threat, everything. He's going to be a good basketball player. So 19%, the most percentage of his offensive possessions for Cooper Flagg was running the pick and roll. He ran it a lot with him, this other backup big that Duke had also. And I mean, it feels like it's a broken record. You're just going to praise everything he does, but the dude's passing, Cooper Flagg's passing and vision at his size.
We're doing the strengths part. This is the strengths part of the episode.
Oh, I mean, newsflash, I don't have a ton of weaknesses here, but it just goes to like, I think it was Raphael. He says like one of the most well-rounded prospect. This is why I'm like, I don't even think he's a better prospect than Zion. Like he is just one of the most well-rounded prospects I've seen coming out of ball since AD. But it's like his numbers running the pick and roll, which is something you really have to do if you're going to have the ball in your hands a lot, is just incredible. High, super effective percentile wise, points per possession wise, and he just feels like he makes the right play all the time. And that right there is a huge thing when it comes to his offensive side and his size. I mean, he can pull up over anybody, pull up anywhere. There was a lot of questions about his shooting going into the season, but then he finishes the year 39% from three. And it's like any of the small like things about him, like, oh man, what is this a question? And it's like, okay, even like to the your thing that he added 12 pounds. There was a few people out there like, oh, well, is he a little bit too skinny? Like, what's he going to be? Well, he added 12 pounds this summer. I mean, or this past season too. So it's like, if there was a little slimmer of negativity, he approved that and erased that from his game this past season at Duke.
He led Duke in every major statistical category.
Yes.
19.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.4 blocks per game.
A Duke team that's going to have two other top 10 draft picks.
Yeah.
Like Knipple and Malut. I don't know. But they're both, I mean, they're going to have three players in the top 10. So it's not like one of those guys like, oh man, he's playing for some random community college leading all five. No, it's Duke. Like with a really good team.
The other thing you mentioned about the like learning and getting better is Raphael. This is straight out of NBA Big Board. We already knew what stood out most this season is how much Flagg added to his game in such a short time. We already knew about the athleticism, the motor, and the defensive versatility and the competitive fire. But the development as a shot maker took things to another level, knocking down 38.5% from three and 3.6 per game. addressing one major question mark I had about him entering the season. I expected him to be more of a play finisher on the next level, but he proved he can create his own shot, score in isolation, and knock down open jumpers with confidence. It's like, what are the strengths? There's so many, and that's why he's such a well-rounded player that he could do almost anything, which is why I'm so high on him fitting with this team, because whatever he's capable of doing in the first year, like whatever comes easy to him. Like, you remember when Luka came in and all of a sudden we're like, oh, he can dribble and handle and he's got his own pace, and all of a sudden like that came easy to him, and that he was able to do that because the Mavs didn't have anything else at the time. But for now, it's like, all right, well, what are you capable of doing this first year? Are you a really good rim protector? Are you knocking down 38% from three again? Or can you handle the ball for us a little bit? Whatever you're capable of doing, whatever Jason Kidd can give you as a responsibility and you can do, like, go for it. Like, we'll take it, right? We'll take it. We'll figure out the rest with everybody else.
Yeah, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands at all times. Like, he's going to have games to where, he might have 16 points in a game, but he's going to have like 6 blocks, couple steals. I mean, his steal percentage in college was absolutely insane. I wrote it down. It was in the 93rd percentile. His steal percentage, like what he can do on the defensive side of the basketball, is just dumb. But then you have the offensive side too that I think surprised a lot of people, and that's the ceiling for him. That's what will determine the ceiling for him. And I literally wrote down, I said, can he raise the ceiling of his career with his ISO creation? He got better at that at Duke, and he was doing that, I mean, in the tournament by the end of the year. But it's like, can he be like even more elite at that? Because that's the one thing that will take him to like that next level there. What is it? What's his go-to moves? He has that like Siakam spin move a lot in the paint. He is still tall, so when you're pulling off some of the handles and stuff and dribble moves, some of those quicker, smaller defenders might try to pick him and stuff early on. Can he tighten that up, add a little bit more ISO moves to his arsenal outside of just the Siakam spin? And then, I mean, at his size, he's like, I don't know what the answer is at that point.
Are you excited yet? Listening? Coming up.
Just getting going, guys.
Let's talk about some of the things he can improve on, some of the concerns maybe that some people have. And then I got a couple comps that I kind of find fun. We'll talk about that.
I have a lot of personal stuff about him too.
We'll do that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by CarGuru. Shopping for a car should be exciting, not exhausting. But between the confusing prices, hidden fees, it can feel overwhelming. I got to tell you, I went to buy a car recently, and you start looking around. You're like, okay, what about these used cars? Okay, well, they're almost the same price as new cars. And then you're like, all right, new car. Dallas, Fort Worth, where are the new cars? They're everywhere. That's why I love CarGuru, help you cut through the noise and show you the best deals with a full conscience. Over 4 million listings. CarGuru has more new and used cars than any other major online marketplace in the US. They verify dealers, provide real price analysis, and give you the tools and data you need to make the right choice without second guessing yourself. That's a problem that I have, second guessing everything. Need a deal you can trust? CarGuru makes it easy to compare vehicles side by side with unbiased deal ratings. Oh, you got to love a side by side. I'm side by siding everything, like on Amazon or whatever. Buy or sell your next car today at CarGuru.com. Go to CarGuru.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGuru, CarGurus.com, CarGuru.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac. We waxed poetic about how good Cooper Flagg is. Let's tear him down now. Let's tear him all the way down to the studs. The concerns. There's not too many of them. You mentioned
you go for it.
You mentioned the predictable, like the one move. Raphael mentioned that one as well. He can tighten his polish his handle, tighten his self-creation, diversify counters and things like that. The one thing he did bring up that I found interesting was he is only shot 58% at the rim, which is not terrible, but it's not elite for somebody like you would think. And he said you'd like to see that number trend towards like over 65%, and he was at 58%. And that's something he could develop a little later, but that was something that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, sure. You can go back and watch some of these, a lot of the missed shots and stuff at the rim, but it's like they didn't go in because he was trying to dunk on somebody, or it's a contested shot. He's going to play with a lot more spacing in the NBA.
Yeah.
There are times, that's why sometimes when they put in their backup big at Duke, that could stretch out and hit the three, it opened up a little bit more of the paint for Flagg to go to work. It felt like Flagg could get to the rim at any time that he wanted. And there's a lot of times he might miss his shot, but he's getting a rebound right back because his second jump is great too. And yeah, I'm not worried about his finish around the rim.
Anything else you're worried about?
No, this is not. I don't mean that in like a way. It's just like I don't think there is. I mean, we could go ahead and get into comps because it kind of shows you like why you don't feel like there's like there's not like a glaring weakness, right? Like you just don't have I don't know what this is why there's so many and it's not just like us saying it. It's like that's when you talk to people, you read stuff about him, you see it's like most well-rounded like there's just not a glaring weakness about him. And it's just not, you don't see that often.
What do you think his elite skill is going to be first year?
I think defense, because he's going to have the effort and he cares. I think he's going, and that, I mean, of course, this is what Dallas is wanting right now. But I think his hustle, energy, and the fact that he's going to work his butt off and care the most, I think his defense is going to be the calling card. I think offense will be the thing that we'll have to, I won't say wait, because I don't think he'll struggle with that, but I think it will take a little bit more to see the ceiling of what he can offer because of the other players on the team with a Kyrie. And I don't think it's a bad thing. He just might have to be a little more selective with it, or he might try to overthink it, like, well, I got to get the ball to AD or Kyrie and stuff, and they're going to be like, hey, we want you to cook too. So I think that might be a little clunky early on, but his calling card is going to be his defense. Yeah,
that's the thing I'm looking at is when you look at all around guys like this, in order for them to take that leap to the next level, you got to get better at all the things. And that's what he said at the lottery. They had him at the desk, and Jay Billis is like, "What things are you working on?" He goes, "Well, I'm working on all my games." It's like he has those canned answers that you just. Couple of comps. One of them from Raphael stood out to me that I thought was hilarious.
I've landed on one, by the way, as like my favorite one.
Raphael said a combination of Kenyon Martin and David Lee. You remember Kenyon Martin was the number 1 pick out of Cincinnati. And it was just, elite athlete, really good defender, could obviously do some stuff offensively. And then he said combination of Kenyon Martin and David Lee. Remember David Lee, Knicks, Warriors.
I need some better players, Raphael.
He said, but with 2025 shooting range and wing skills. I mean, the combination of both those two players, like they were both all-stars.
Yeah.
And then you add shooting range and you add some wing skills, and you're like, okay, that's like a number 1 player right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to find a bunch of different people's comps from the Ringer to in April, ESPN did this to where they polled executives around the league and stuff and scouts. And they spout out 5 comps in that ESPN article. That was Jason Tatum, Kawhi, Lamar Odom, Pippen, and Karolinko. Not as much. I'm not a biggest fan about the Odom comp. But like the Kawhi Tatum part, I think there's a path for there. It scares me to give Pippen a Pippen comp for somebody coming out of the draft. But for me, what I've landed on the most is, and this might, whatever, but it's Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is my favorite comp. And I went back and forth on a bunch of these different players because it's the tenacity that he plays with. It's the size and shot blocking that he brings down low. That maybe some of the guys like Jason Tatum, I think he reminds me a lot of like early Tatum on offense, but not the shot blocking, help side stuff and like overall team defensive impact that I think that's better than what Tatum is, even though Tatum's a good individual defender and all that. But where Garnett like excelled at that.
Yeah.
Garnett could switch out on the wing, especially early Garnett and all the stuff. And I think some of the other guys are better at like point guard defense. Like I think you're going to obviously throw a Pippen or a Kawhi or something like that. I'm not like biting at the bit to throw Cooper Flagg, even though he can move his feet super fast and everything, of saying, hey, you have, this amazing point guard for 35 minutes tonight. So Kevin Garnett's the one for me that I think that's the best comp for me.
I ain't mad at that one. I think the Odom one you mentioned, I think that speaks to his playmaking at his size. There's a lot said about his playmaking and his ability to pass like from the high post and create plays. And Odom was really good at that. So I think that's some of it. The Ringer also said like shades of Sean Marion, girl from The Matrix.
I didn't like that comp. Love
offensively,
Matrix.
it's not good.
Yeah, I just don't like that comp. I think Marion's a little like twitchier too, and I don't know, but
you can see the type of player he's going to be, and all those.
Yeah.
I mean, all those are great names, and he's got traits of all those guys, and so you see how he's such a great fit for the Mavericks. You want to give me one more thing. Give me one good story that you read today.
Oh my gosh, Nick, I have so many of them. Okay, just give me like two like a minute here to just spout off a bunch of things. Obviously, he's from Maine. He wins national title as a ninth grader.
Go to Maine.
As a ninth grader, there hasn't been a player from Maine be drafted into the NBA in 40 years since 1984. by the way, so he grows up.
Dirk Nowitzki.
He grows up watching. This is what's crazy too, because of how young he is. He grows up watching the Celtics like 80s like clips. There's like stories of him and his brother. His twin brother plays basketball too, to where they're like ride to games and stuff, watching 85, 86 Celtics. His favorite player of all time is Larry Bird and all this stuff. So his parents like credit, like he knows the best way to play basketball because he watched the Celtics in the 80s and stuff. But so he wins that title as a ninth grader. He transfers eventually to Monteverde Academy, which has cranked out so many just incredible NBA players, first round draft picks, all the stuff. Big time high school, a lot of hype around him. He goes 33-0 there. So yeah, pretty good high school player. When he was in fourth grade, he asked for a Jason Tatum jersey for Christmas because
fourth grade.
Yeah, in fourth grade. There's a lot of debate on when he first.
Tatum's 27. He asked for his jersey in fourth grade.
It's weird. There's just so many different things about his competitiveness too. Like he has his sixth grade coach said that he would go out in the mornings to walk his dog at like before the sun rose, and he would see Cooper out running. And this is a sixth grader out running when, just like before the sun comes up. And just how his parents would talk about in different interviews, how obsessed he is about getting better from such a young age up to here. He broke his nose in this consolation game, and everybody thought for sure it's like, all right, well, this game doesn't even mean anything. And he breaks his nose. He goes back to the locker room, all the stuff, and then literally comes out and he's like refusing, like, I'm not going to be out of this game. He has a mask on. He plays the rest of the game, and this game means absolutely nothing. He has NIL deals, Gatorade, New Balance, and he uses this NIL money back home to help train like kids and stuff in Maine, back to some of the school and stuff. And his mom talks about his competitiveness. Both of his parents played high school basketball and college ball, but his mom calls it the crazy eyes when she sees Cooper's like competitiveness on the floor. Like he gets those crazy eyes, and it's real then. So we'll be looking for the crazy eyes. I do want to say, go read. There's a few profiles from Brandon Marks on The Athletic that he wrote. He covers the Tar Heels and Blue Devils for The Athletic, but he wrote some profiles on him going back to like high school, college days. So a lot of this information I'm pulling from that. I'm pulling from different I just read everything written about Cooper Flagg over the past 24 hours, and it's pretty awesome. So
this is what I read today. His favorite color of Gatorade is blue.
Well, it's good that he's going to the Mavericks. John Shire too is coaching college for Duke. I mean, one of his praise for him is like he was just like everybody else. He said I would get on him all the time, and he was just like another guy. It's not, even though they built the system around him and all the stuff, like he would, all the stuff. He said I would get all over him, and he takes it, and he wants it, like he desires it.
It's kind of notable that he's doing the combine.
Yeah, like why are you there? I mean, obviously he's not scrimmaging, but it's like, but you don't have to go in.
Why did he need to do it, right? Like just to have the measurements on record, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
but he said
actually that part he might have to do. I don't know.
No, he said it. I've seen guys skip the measurements and stuff.
Okay.
But he said at the lottery, like, hey, I'm not going to take anything for granted. We're going to see what happens. It's a coach answer, but still good. Incredible. So much stuff. We'll have the rest. There's 42 days between now and the draft, by the way. So
it's a lot of Cooper Flagg content.
There's some time, so keep coming back. We'll be here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Check the links in the description to find the text line. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
OJ Mayo, give up that 32 number for Cooper. Peace out.
Boom.